Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Sister June on here.
Right?
Right. Look at that.
Hey.
God is moving.
It's a special day.
It is a
He
We in hot,
day for the recap.
we in hot cotton today.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm
He's
Yeah,
working to
I-
get folks
right now. I'm a
saved.
little nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Oh, we got the heavy hitters here today. You know,
Should be all right.
past it.
We
All on you.
having fun.
Yeah.
We having fun. We having fun tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Got Kevin Johnson up in here.
Oh, thanks, Bishop. Thanks, Bishop.
Right.
So we're so honored to be in your glory.
I know, right? I'm going to share the same screen with them.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Bishop.
Literally sharing the same screen. I'm telling you something else. They have him in a cornerstone spot too.
I know, right? I see your background working.
I try to live up to Bethany's
I understand.
expectations. Bishop set high standards for us at Bethany, so
Yes, it does.
for everything looks right on the page. All right.
I understand.
Kevin is bougie. That's trust me.
Ain't nothing wrong with being
Talk
bougie.
that talk.
Ain't nothing wrong being bougie. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. He bougie.
That's a nice way of calling us nerds, Pastor Nick.
I know I'm a
No,
nerd.
no.
Yeah, I'm a whole dork.
It's Kevin. Kevin's bougie. That's all. He's not nerd. He's nerd. He's bougie.
Okay.
Well, let me start off by saying thank you to everyone that's tuning in right now. Please share, comment, and everything. As you guys see, we have some special guests here today that I'm so excited to talk about. We have so much to cover, but I want to say thank you to Bishop for joining us, Pastor Nick, Pastor P, and Sister White. We have on the chat now. So as you guys know, we are streaming on all
June.
As you guys know, we are streaming on all the pages. So Bethany's page, Bishop's page. All right. Also, those that are watching us, please take this opportunity to join our connections group. I know that we are not in person right now. We are working virtually, but to stay connected with us and get all that exclusive content, you have to join the Bethany connections page. All right. So I want to jump right in because we have so much to cover today. I want to start off by saying amazing job with Father's Day.
Yeah, it was good.
Happy Father's Day, Pastor Nick. Happy Father's Day to everyone that's streaming in with us right now. Father's Day was awesome yesterday.
It was.
All the content that came out with the panel discussions, Dare to Be a Man, the spiritual fatherhood, and This is Fatherhood discussion. It was amazing. Can I say that the spiritual fatherhood, that really helped me a lot.
Yeah, that was real good.
It
was full of wisdom.
Full of wisdom. I was just like, whoo, I didn't know we was getting that today.
Right.
I knew we were going to get the collages and everything, but I was like, whoo,
it was real good.
For that.
And it was a good mixture of different types and minds, and everybody's perspective on it was fresh and different.
Right, most definitely. So Pastor Nick and Bishop, you guys want to share anything about the experience with the panel discussions and everything for fatherhood and everything that we were able to experience yesterday?
Okay. I always defer just in case.
I know that's why I pointed.
I thought it was great. Doing the panels were fun. I think the one we did with George, James, Bishop Anthony, that was a very we kind of threw our hearts on the table a little bit. So you saw a little bit of our personal side as fathers and men talking, not just a bishop, a pastor, another bishop, and a therapist talking. The spiritual father one was so cool to do. With the variety of perspectives, Bishop picked that panel group, and I can see why. The wealth that Bishop Thomas brought to the table and Bishop Miller brought to the table, as well as Brother Odell and Pastor Jay Pike, was something. The thing that I loved, we all kind of was like, whoa, was when Bishop Thomas said, a father has what he needs, and what his sons bring to the table is overflow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the father-son relationship is not transactional, because if you leave, I don't lose a whole lot in the equation.
Right.
Right.
And that was a profound statement to me.
It
So
was.
I really enjoyed both of them, as well as the Dare to Be a Man panel too. I like the variety of age groups in there.
Yeah.
Each age group brought in their perspective on it.
And I like that Bishop Thomas touched on the fact that you can't call somebody your father without them agreeing to be your father.
Right.
A lot of people use that word so loosely that it kind of loses its power, I think. So I appreciated that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share anything about the Father Day panels?
Yeah, it was a good mix. Very good mix. And it wasn't boring.
No, not at
No,
all.
it was
Like
not.
I literally
No.
watched the whole entire time. It wasn't boring at all.
And I want to give a special shout out to Deacon Antoine for doing such an amazing job moderating. He did
Yeah.
such a good job. I remember when he was telling me about it, he was like, "Oh, I'm nervous." I'm like, "You got it, cut it out." But then when he was like, "This show was in," I was like, "Oh yeah. I would have been nervous."
Can I say this? I'll throw this in there. The more you get used to doing stuff around him, the more comforting his presence is when you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you
when you first start off, you're real nervous, like I gotta please my father,
Right,
and your scared as all get out.
Right.
And then when you know that support is there, he's actually a rock during that moment, because if ain't nobody gonna support you.
Right.
He gonna try to bless him, Lord. So,
right. And you have to know that poker face. You have to be like,
Yep. You be like,
Right.
"Oh, am I doing the right thing?"
like, am I okay? Am I in the Bible? Am I preaching the Bible? Do I know
Right.
what this is?
Right. But I'm telling you, his presence becomes very comforting in that moment.
Right.
You know, and that's an evolution to that. You know.
Right.
So
I think he can sense it too. He senses it when we kind of hold back because he's there, and he has the ability to bring you in,
Right.
and make you feel like you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's difficult sometimes because you have his love, but at the same time, you're being judged, but in a good way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just finding a balance, like, okay, I know he's going to tell me some things that I could have done better, but at the same time, I know I have his support.
Right.
Sure.
So just to sum it all up,
Bishop can
we
read you
love
like a
your
book.
leadership.
I know it.
We love your
I feel
leadership,
like
Bishop, and we thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
Can I ask a question? So Bishop, when you are watching your sons and daughters do something, they mess around and put your poker face. What is going through your mind during those moments? And what are you looking for? What are you looking for?
When you all are in the spotlight for whatever reason, I use those moments to kind of get a general assessment of the specific strengths and specific weaknesses that you may have in your presentation in that moment.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at everything you're doing well. I'm looking at the stuff that I think you can do better. Whether you're reaching your audience, whether you're communicating clearly, whether you're making that eye contact, that physical contact with the audience that you're addressing.
Right.
So it's both I'm a cheerleader on one side of me and a critic on the other. So, because I don't want unproductive habits perpetuated from one opportunity to the next.
Right.
So how
you
do
have
you?
to get them.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
How do you know how to give what's the wisdom behind giving the criticism in a sensitive way?
Well, I remember when I was developing, they thought I was gifted, but I didn't think I was gifted. And so I welcomed the input, but I was my own worst critic. I used to get a legal pad after I finished preaching and listen to the sermon about 10 o'clock at night, and I'd fill up a legal pad with things I thought I could have done better. Sentence structure, enunciating my words. I'd say to myself, that only made sense to you. Talking about myself, but the people didn't get that. They said amen, but they were being kind. Just every situation like that. I even go back and watch TV interviews to see, do I look correctly? Am I sitting correctly? Are my hands and my legs in the right place? And just a total presentation.
Right.
Because the screen and audiences are real unforgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you only get one opportunity and you want to maximize that.
Right.
You know, but then the hard part is understanding where you need to improve and not letting that hinder you during your next opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a basketball player who's a star that misses the last shot, the last second of a game. He learns from that, goes into the next game, and he's not thinking about missing that shot again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He takes the shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We on 10 minutes in, you're already dropping some wisdom. But no, I definitely want to say again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I want to give a special shout out to our social media team and our media team for all the incredible content that we've been getting over the past 2
Absolutely.
weeks. Kudos to you guys.
Yes.
You guys don't see it behind the scenes. We have people working hard, just working in the kingdom to give you this great content to stay connected during this time. So this is a great segue just to go into the incredible week we just experienced with Power of God 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Bethany, you know how important Power of God is. It is like the festival of all. It's like it is everything. It's like you get everything ready. You take off from work. You get a new notebook. You make sure your pens are ready.
Right. Get them new clothes.
Right. Make sure you got your outfits already picked out because you're going to go in the morning, come back for the evening because you want to your spot.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you got your bag. But this year we did it virtually and you guys had the best seat in town, right on your tablets, right on your computers and everything. So with that being said, I want to go right into Power of God 2020. This was the year of vision, imagination, and the open mouth. What an incredible title, especially for this time period that we're in, right? So in our afternoon sessions, we had on Monday, Bishop Mark Sharon, Tuesday, Pastor Tony Miller, Wednesday, Bishop David Malden. Oh, Malden, I always mess his last name up. Maldonado.
Maldonado, yes.
I'm sorry, Pat. I'm sorry, Bishop. Thursday, we had Pastor Mark Moore, and Friday, Bishop Joseph Walker, right? And then in our evening services, we had Sunday, Dr. Cynthia James. A quiet storm.
Yes, she is.
Quiet storm, when I tell you. Monday, we had Pastor Jamal Bryan, who is no stranger to the plaza at all. He always comes with a word that's incredible. Wednesday, we had our very own. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped Tuesday. Tuesday, we had Pastor John Hanna, right? Wednesday, we had the best pastor in the whole entire world, Bishop David G. Evans. Woo! Man. Thursday, we had Dr. Bill Winston, another quiet storm. You look at him, you be like, oh, he ain't about. But he gives you a word.
Yep.
He'll read you from A to Z. He gives you a word, right? And then Friday, we ended it off with such an incredible, every time this man comes, I get chills. Prophet Daniel Amate, right? So this year was such an incredible time, even though we looked at previous sermons and everything from Power of God, the word still hit. It still was such an incredible time. So I want to ask you guys, not just this Power of God, but all the years of Power of God, especially you, Pastor P. What is the most memorable moment of Power of God for you?
Oh my God. It kind of, unfortunately, because we do it so often, they kind of all run together. But what I look for at the end of the day or at the end of the conference is that we have been spiritually successful.
Yeah.
And also financially successful. Because we still got to pay the bills. Praise the Lord. Salvation is free. Ministry costs.
Right.
So I'm looking for both ends of those equations to be met. But it's just so gratifying to hear the positive feedback of people that have attended year after year, or even first year, second year. It's so rewarding to hear the positive feedback. And I was really feeling some kind of way that we weren't able to meet live this year. I mean, I was literally like, dang, this building's supposed to be running over with people. And but that's just going to make the next one even that much more greater.
Right. Awesome. Sister Des, would you like to go on? Your most memorable moment in Power God?
So I think the first time that I saw Prophet Daniel, because this would have been my third Power of God service, and so when I first watched, like when I first watched him preach, I was just like, wait a second, this man is because that's the first time I've ever encountered a prophet. So I was just like, wait, is he actually saying people and like calling people's names out and all that? I was just like, wait a second, hold on, and they're like, yeah, my mom's name is Cynthia, this or whatever, and I'm just like, wow. It was so bizarre to me. I had never experienced anything like that, and for it to actually be truthful for a lot of the things that he was saying, and like it wasn't like fraudulent or skeptical or anything happened. Like it was actually God moving, and it was my first time ever experiencing anything like that. So that was definitely something crazy. So now every time he does come, I'm like, wait, what is he gonna say now? Who's he gonna tell their life to now?
Yeah, he ain't no joke.
Sister White, would you tell us about your most memorable moment of Power of God?
Every night, and I know that we all have our favorites, but I have to tell you, the prophet really does blow my mind. It's like when I go home, I can't relax because I'm saying to myself, did he really say that? It seems like for someone to be so empowered by the Holy Spirit like that, it just blows me away.
Right.
Right.
Awesome. Pastor Nick, now being on the other side, what's your most memorable moment from Power of God?
This year was the pre and post discussion.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool connecting to people like that.
Yeah.
Each day we were tired after, but I thought it was good to experience that, go back and forth with the people, answering their questions, talking to them. It felt very relaxed, and from the views, it seemed like it went across very well.
Yes.
While we couldn't walk around and talk to people like we normally did, it gave us a chance to actually sit down and actually connect to more people at one time than we could actually in person. So that was my favorite part.
And it seemed like they appreciated just the free flow of conversation. You allowed them to ask any question they wanted. So
when I saw Bishop and Pastor Nick on Instagram Live, I said, "Oh man, they're on Instagram Live." I was like, "Come on, church fam!" Now, Bishop, now I know you have experienced so many Power of Gods, but out of all of them, I know it goes up each time. It grows every year. But what is your most memorable moment of Power of God for you?
I think the beginning years versus years that we're in now, and both of those had some instances. I remember the night the power went out, and we had to bring a fire truck and a generator. The entire church was dark. It was like 90 degrees at night. The ushers were passing out ice water to everybody and fans.
Wow.
We were able to put one light over the preacher, Bishop Barbara Amos, and she preached one light. It had to be 95, 100 degrees in the church.
it was hot.
No one left. Nobody left. And it was an amazing service. And it was one of the best videos we ever shot.
Wow.
Oh wow.
With no power available at all. And I remember Sister Miles and the rest of the hospitality committee taking ice water to people in pitchers, and it was the pressure of the moment. The next thing that happened, I think, was the first time we had one here, and how I was concerned about people coming, and God blessed it, came from all over, and it's always been an unusual meeting. It's the only 6-night, 5-day church-based convocation in the country.
Yep.
And we didn't know that. I asked Reverend Prescott a couple of days ago, did she ever see this in general? And she said, no, I didn't. Who did I think that we'd be the number one convocation? No, that's not what we did when we started it. One other thing that really catches my mind is when Reverend fired the convocation staff. That was when she took over.
Can Let me know when it's my turn.
No,
Let me know when it's my turn to speak.
Be quiet. Let him talk. Be quiet.
It was blood in the hallways. I'm telling you.
Wow.
But she did what she had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she hadn't, we wouldn't be where we are.
Wow. Well, Pastor P, you want to go in and talk about that?
Yeah. So what happened was back then, let me be politically correct. I had inherited a team.
Okay.
I had inherited a team. So mind you, I got hired. Power of God was like 3 weeks after that. Living out my trunk, work out my trunk, all of that. So I had inherited a team. Now, I'm the kind of person, you don't have to like me for me to work with you. I've learned that, right? However, you do have to work. And you can't stop the progress you can't try to stop the progress on purpose.
Yeah.
So they would do stuff like, this is a true story. They would do stuff like schedule a meeting on Sunday morning, 10 people in a room, because they needed to get agreement on what kind of supplies we were going to buy. I'm like, are we really meeting about pens? So it was just a lot of disorganization, undermining, not doing their job. I felt like I was doing more than I needed to because we had a staff. So at the end of the conference, I said, Bishop, do I have the permission? It was at the end.
It was not at the end. No.
Yes, it was. It was they went the whole week. I said,
gutted that guy in the hallway at the end. You gutted him the first day.
That was impact.
He did the seat shift,
I said, do I have permission?
I witnessed an execution. I happened to be in the hallway when that happened.
Oh man.
It was like being at my grandmother's house. I was, you enter the room and somebody else is getting a beating.
Yep. And you're like, oh.
I started backing up slowly because I didn't.
So
I didn't want to get caught up in it, man.
To continue, right, I asked for permission to make the necessary changes to bring Power of God to a point where we are now.
Yes, and thank you for that, because Power of God is something that I always look forward to. Go ahead, Pastor Nick, you got something to add? Go ahead.
In all her reasoning, she just confirmed everything Bishop said.
No.
That was a gigantic yes.
Bishop makes it seem like I came and just said, "You're fired. You're fired. You're fired." It was
when you decided to do it. It was like that.
It was for an absolutely good reason. We had to repurpose some people.
Don't trump it up. You slaughtered the staff.
Did you say don't trump it up?
Oh, trump it up.
Next question.
Right. You try to add a bunch of sugar around all that. That ain't nothing.
No, but what I will say is that I did like it virtually. I do love it when we are in person because, like I said, my favorite part of Power of God is the worship. For me, I always love the worship, and my most memorable moment is when William Murphy came. As that man got on the mic.
God, he's worshiping
by himself.
By himself. Yeah,
by himself. He didn't dance. He got on that mic, stood in the middle of, and he just ushered that word right on in. And I still have chills 10 minutes when he got off the stage.
He got that.
It was incredible. So Pastor P for next year.
We'll see what we can do. He was an awesome addition.
Kevin with the headache.
He was an awesome addition to that.
He
was. Like Bishop said, by himself, he created that atmosphere. And sustained it by himself.
Man, I'm getting chills by thinking about it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Power of God is. You get so much that we're like sponges when we go in and we soak so much in. So you really have to mentally prepare for yourself. So let me ask you guys, what do you guys do when it comes to that time of Power of God? Like it's coming up. How do you mentally prepare yourself? Especially, we're the church that never sleeps. By Friday night, Saturday morning, everybody's exhausted. So how do you go in mentally, spiritually for Power of God?
I just accept the fact that for 7 days, you ain't getting no sleep. Like forget about sleep. You're going to be running around, but it's all worth it. And I think, you just run on adrenaline, but when it's over, I don't know about everybody else, but I crash when it's over. But I just accept the fact this is how it's going to be. So suck it up and do what you got to do.
Right. Sister
I
White?
want to say, at home, it's like you do nothing else. You don't commit to anything or
Yep.
anyone that
House is a mess.
yeah, just make yourself available. Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. But it's fun though. It's
It
fun
is.
doing
It is.
in the
It
midst of
feels
all the
good.
craziness.
mhm.
It feels good.
Sister Des,
I
you
think
want
most-
to add anything?
I think Bishop was about to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bishop.
Oh, go ahead, Des. No, go ahead.
Like I said, this would have been just my third year. So my first year, I had no idea what to expect. But my second year, I was like, okay, here we go. Like, I was getting prepared for it. And so, like you said, like getting the notebooks and getting all that stuff prepared, it definitely is an experience, an immersion of everything. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Most definitely. Bishop, you want to go ahead?
It's almost like it's a stadium experience, but it's in a church.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
When you
Yeah.
think of the mix of the participants, and then you look at the mix of preachers and their mix of styles,
Yeah.
and then you look at the caliber of music that we bring with our own music ministry, and then we put Grammy and Stellar Award winners on top of that.
Yep.
It's not something you expect to happen in a local church,
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
and it
Right.
makes it distinctive in the country.
Mhm.
And nobody really knows. I have one saying on Power God: up late, up early. That's all I keep saying to myself: up late, up early.
Mhm.
And I don't know about them, but I'm usually tired the Sunday that it starts.
Now see,
'Cause
I'm not.
we've been nailing it down those last 2 or 3 days.
Mhm.
I've had to keep my schedule normal,
Yeah.
and then preaching on that Sunday and all that. And then here comes the convocation, and I don't. But I have an easy job. I have to be the host with the most,
Mhm.
and I'm the
Mhm.
designated executioner that week. She takes her axe back,
Uh-huh.
gives it to me,
Uh-huh.
takes it back Friday night after the convocation's
Pastor Nick, would you like to speak on how do you mentally prepare yourself spiritually and everything for Power of God?
I think the thing I love the week before POG starts, a few weeks before, you feel something change in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
Like you could feel something coming. Then that Sunday
Yep.
morning,
Yeah.
it's on.
Yep.
And by the time that Sunday night hits, you're rock and roll ready, expecting God to do something.
Yeah.
God is always moving through this building, but it's something special about that week, man. It's just
Yeah.
and leading up to it, you can feel it. That's my favorite part of it, and that helps with the tiredness and all that good stuff like that.
Mhm.
But
You think it's the one accord, Pastor Nick?
yeah, because everybody together is ready for it.
Mhm.
From all geographies,
Yep.
coming for one
Yeah.
accord.
Yep.
Yeah, and God really does move in that community of everybody with a same like-minded expectation.
Right.
Mhm.
Like God's going to do something, and you can feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now,
People can't wait to get here.
right. Now, like I said, Power of God was virtually this year, but it was still impactful. It still had the same feel, even though, we were not in person. But one special thing that I really did enjoy, and I really want to get Pastor Nick and Pastor P's and Bishop's, opinion on this, is that we had a panel discussion on Wednesday from pandemic to pandemonium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
incredible panel where it was just a special discussion on the coronavirus pandemic, the state of social injustice, and how we must respond as a church as a whole, right? So, Bishop, Pastor Nick, and Pastor P, how important was it to make sure you had the right people on the panel to deliver this word to, us as a body, as a church, as a kingdom, especially with everything that's going on in our society?
I'm gonna defer because Bishop and Pastor Nick.
Bishop picked people. Bishop picked people.
Mhm.
How was it important? How important was it to pick the right people to deliver that message? Because that discussion was so powerful.
And I think it was balanced too.
It was balanced. It was straight to the point. What we wanted as Christians, what we wanted to hear, and how we should feel during this time, and how we should handle this. So, Bishop, how important was that?
I think if we had the convocation, whether live or virtually, and not addressed the present issues, we would have been partially out of the will of God.
Yeah.
We would have come together we come together, but we would not have addressed the things that people are going through right now.
Yeah.
And I think we would have been at fault in that. I, for one, it wasn't my idea. I think it was Pastor Smith's idea. It wasn't my title. It was Reverend Prescott's title.
Mm-hmm.
All I had to do was tell the people I got the people. But they structured it, and I fit in where they had me fit in. And they let me moderate it. So I was able to, I'd gotten tired of the same old dialogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks to me that that dialogue, that conversation has not produced any results in the last 40 years. And I say that if we're still getting shot down in the street, then our rhetoric is not working.
Right.
So we needed different people so we could have a different kind of conversation.
Yeah. Whew. It was powerful. Does anyone else want to speak on it? I don't just want to speak on it. I want to hear everyone.
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think the difference in nationalities too mixed in.
The diverse.
Yeah, 'cause you can't just do this with one group of people.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see certain people, they just want one group of people to do all the talking. But we're all living this country together, so you have to have somebody white, Hispanic, black, all ethnicities and everything coming together to have this conversation, so that everybody can be treated humanely.
Yeah.
Whether you like them or agree with them or not, everybody deserves a common human experience on this earth.
Yeah.
I think it's also like it was a needed conversation that needed to come from the church, because there's so many outside sources and so many people saying whatever they want to say, but what does God have to say? What do the men of God have to say about what's actually going on? So Kev, you put up a good point of like, how should we feel as Christians about what's happening? How do we move as the body of Christ? So it was really good. So necessary.
So necessary. Sister White, did you want to add?
I concur with everything she just said. We have to include people from other ethnicities. It's so important to get the opinion because they feel it too. They're looking for ways to speak with us, and it's time for us to allow them to express what it is they're feeling, because then with the feedback, sometimes a light comes on.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So that was really, that really topped it off. Even though it was on Wednesday, it still stuck to me. I still watched it this weekend. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. That was
and we're doing another panel too with a different group.
Okay. Awesome.
Speaking of, we got to talk about everybody on the group, Bishop. I think we talked about it already.
We did. We just have to add one person.
We got to add one person.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same.
They keep proving my point. They keep proving my point.
Tell me what to do and I'll be there.
I'm the wrangler. I get the herd together. That's what they use me.
Yeah, I think we need one more person. Then we're going to do like a part 2 to it.
Wow.
And get another perspective.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can, because Pastor Bryant said it so clearly. This is the first time that the church isn't at the helm of a civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And we need to be a voice up there to bring the God perspective, the spiritual perspective to the equation. Because if I can say this nicely, there are some groups that are trying to divert the movement into something else than what it is.
Yep.
And I think we need to bring that side in there too, to make sure it's focused on where we're trying to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, Bethany family, y'all that are tuning in, y'all got the special announcement. We're getting another panel.
Part 2 coming.
Part 2 is coming. Stay tuned, right? So, like I said, Power God, it happened virtually. It was still incredible with the panels, past sermons that were preached, still hold weight till today, no matter what's from 2014, 2008, it's 2020, and it's still
relevant.
Still relevant to today's world. So I want to say thank you to Pastor P and everyone on the Power God team. That was such an incredible time. Thank you for allowing us to still experiencing it virtually, right? So, like I said, we have a lot to cover. So I want to get right into the Encounter Sunday.
Wow.
Let's talk about how Bishop brought in the power of faith.
Yeah, man.
Bishop started us off in Hebrews chapter 11, where he talked about how some words that will help us get to the power of faith are expectation, confidence, and believing, right? Without expectation, faith does not work.
Mm-hmm.
Without confidence in God, faith does not work. Believing that all things are possible, is what you need to do. So, Bishop, when you talk about these three words, I just want to start right there with our panel. Why is it so important to have expectation, confidence, and believing, especially in the kingdom and your kingdom assignment?
I think that what the Lord was doing when he showed me that was that we knew the word faith.
Yeah.
But we needed to feel what faith was supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it feels like to have confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know what it feels like to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to take the word out of its theoretical arena and put it in an arena where the people of God could actually feel it.
Right.
I was in a conference call with the William Morris Agency on Sunday. And the William Morris Agency is the largest, oldest entertainment management, sports managers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about a movie that I'm involved in that has been completed just recently on negative exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know a lot about the film industry. And this is where the faith lesson comes. He asked me, what were my expectations?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I know the guy from William Morris thought he may have been stumping me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, my expectations are always attached to the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it got quiet on the phone. I said, you tell me what's possible. And my expectation will grow right there.
Wow.
It's the same way with God's word.
Wow.
God tells us what's possible.
Right.
And I attach my expectation to what he has said.
Wow.
So when I talked about that expectation, I was trying to get us to a place where we not only had faith, but we felt it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, anybody else want to?
Yep. And I think that's good because when you talk about confidence, of course, a lot of times you made a statement that there's nothing God expects from you that he hasn't given you.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when God calls us to do a thing, we get all tripped out and nervous and everything else, but God's only asking for what he already gave you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to even learn to expect different things from ourselves, having confidence that God gave it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself wondering, what is it that I have that God would ask me for, and could I give it up? I kept examining that. It's deep.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Especially if you know you like.
Go ahead.
Oh, like Abraham, you've been waiting for something really, 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 really long.
Abraham and Isaac.
And then God gonna say, give it back. You're like,
Yes.
wait a minute, maybe I'm not hearing from God. That must have been them greens I ate late at night. That ain't God.
Yeah.
So that's when a real acid test comes.
Yeah. And I found myself reflecting on my mother was always praising God, no matter what she was doing. Even if she were pressing my hair, she was praising God. And I wondered, her faith seemed so strong and immovable. I wondered even about her, what is it that she had that she would have difficulty giving back to God? Had he asked her the same question. So
I think that the answer in the New Testament is God tells us first to present our own bodies a living sacrifice.
That's
So
a
he
good
gave
one.
us this life. He
Yeah.
gave us this life.
Yeah,
He wants us to give this life back to him.
that's a good one. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Pastor Nick, you want to?
So it sounds like that faith doesn't start with us. Faith is a response. That's basically what you're saying, that God tells you what's possible, and he's looking for that response called faith.
Absolutely.
It still amazes me how God gives us everything we need to succeed.
That's right.
From the expectation, he gives us the faith to believe in him.
Right.
He gives us the spirit to help us believe.
Yeah.
It's almost like the only way we fail at this is if we want to, because he gives us everything we need to succeed in this.
Yeah.
And that just continually amazes me about God, that he says, I give you the faith to believe in me.
Yep.
That's what I get up.
Is it Romans that said he freely gives us all things?
Yes.
Under the banner of what we will become? All things working out. One day we're going to be glorified. I'm going to give you everything you need to be glorified.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's just amazing.
Yep.
Sister Des, did you want to add anything?
I did not. I'm gonna absorb this one. That one I'll yeah, no.
But I do not.
Like it's being said, God gives us the faith already. So he's just asking what he already gave us, right? So when you look at it, it has to be a relationship. You have to have a relationship with God. As you know, you have to be equally, you gotta, if he gives you something, you have to give it back. So as I was watching everything, one question that came to my mind that I want to ask you guys is, do you believe people sometimes don't know how to trust God or be in a relationship with God because of the experiences in their past relationships, whether romantic or with like family or anything?
Absolutely. In the next couple of Bible studies, I think we're going to start talking about trust more, which actually goes in line with the Sunday messages on faith. We expect God to be to us what other people have been to us.
Yeah.
You know, and Bishop says sometimes that God can feel like an absentee father sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you have one, God can feel like one because he's silent at times.
Yeah.
He seems distant at times. You're trying to reach out to him and you're like, where are you? Like, bruh, help me out. You said you'd be a very present help. You don't feel that present right now.
Right.
That's why you got to know that he's with you and know that he is there. We can't reduce our relationship with God to feelings alone. If I can say it like that.
Yeah.
And give God a fresh start, like he gives us a fresh start to build a relationship. Because God isn't the person that hurt us. God isn't the one that broke our hearts. He's God.
Yeah.
You know. So I think that's a necessary part of it, in learning that your relationship with God is going to have its struggles.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, struggles are sown into this thing, and it doesn't mean you've lost relationship with him because he didn't do what you wanted him to do, what you wanted him to do it, how you wanted him to do it.
Right.
You know, he's not our maidservant. He's our God. He's our Father.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
heard
think
this thing one time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say I heard this thing one time, and it was a pastor, and he said, "The devil is a lie. So why do you treat God like one? Like why?" And so it's like that whole that statement really hit me, because I'm like, okay, I really put everything. I put the things that I look for, and the things that other people have done. People have hurt me. I look at God in those ways, like, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to continue to, you're not going to show up the way I need you to show up, you know? And it's like, God says, no, I'm here. I'm available. Even when, like Pastor Nick, you just said, even when you are absent, you're never really absent. It's he's giving you space to kind of figure things out, to kind of like push towards him more, seek him more, you know? So that chase really has to be a chase where when you chase after other people and you chase after other things, it's void and it's empty. But when you chase after God, it's like, oh, okay, you're not going to let me down like other people. You're not going to, yeah.
Good, Pastor P.
I was going to say, I think we get impatient when we go through those periods where we know he's our Father, but we don't hear from him in the time that we think we should.
Yeah.
I think that's when we get impatient and start getting disgruntled, because we think, okay, you God, how come you can't answer me? I prayed Monday. How come you can't answer me Tuesday?
Right.
But then there would not need to be faith if he answered us every time we called right away. So I think sometimes we just get impatient, and that impatience takes us off course and makes us second guess, if we're not careful, makes us second guess how much he really loves us.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, Sister White, did you want to add anything?
No.
I feel you.
I'm loving this.
It's all good.
So something that Bishop said to me that I was like, wow, I didn't even look at it like that. But Bishop said, if you don't give God what he has given you, it demonstrates that whatever that thing is has mastered you, right?
Yes.
Through your you are showing that you love the love that he's giving you, that you're not giving it back. So you're showing that you don't love God if you don't give him that, right? So do you feel like that this is the problem with people serving in the kingdom when it comes to their time, their talent, and their treasure? Because they don't know how to give him that love, because they're like, oh, I don't, I can dance, but I don't want to be on a dance ministry, right? Or, I'm an excellent person, so I know how to communicate with people, but I'm not on ushered or hospitality or concierge. Do you feel like that's the problem with people when it comes to serving in the kingdom and stuff like that, that they are not really utilizing all their time, talent, and treasure?
Is that for me?
It's for anyone.
Oh.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Bishop.
Pastor Nick.
Oh, Pastor Nick.
Well,
There was a look on it. There was an answer on his forehead. I could see.
There was. So we were talking about. Repeat that again. I looked at a comment. You know, I got ADD. I looked at a comment. Forgot my phone.
So basically, why is it so hard for us to understand?
Got it now.
You got it. All right.
Giving up your time, your talent, your treasure. Right. Yeah. I think it's something we've been talking about for the past year and some change. Yeah. We continue to go back to this. Are you relational? Are you transactional?
Right.
And I honestly believe that most people approach God in a transactional way. We look at him like a genie in a bottle. We rub him right, and he comes out and gives us 3 wishes. And in a society, and here's a struggle with a lot, especially it's a struggle for all age groups, especially certain ones. When you grow up in a very selfish society where everything's geared towards you, your comfort, your convenience, it's hard for you to live a life of sacrifice when everything's always about you. And people find it hard to give up their time, talent, and treasure. God called us to a life of sacrifice, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
The story where the rich young ruler comes to Jesus and says, "How can I find eternal life?" Jesus didn't say, "Come to the altar and give your life to the Lord." He didn't say, "Let me lay hands on you." He said, "Sell all your possessions and follow me." And the Bible says the young man walks away because he had a great many possessions. And here's the thing I love about Jesus: he did not go chase him down and change his process up and said, "Never mind, keep your possessions and follow me occasionally." He stuck to his guns and said, "If you want this, you got to give up what you have and follow me." God's not going to change his principles because culture and individualism is changing.
Right.
So,
Pastor Nick, do you think that the Lord taught it that way? That he wasn't teaching the young man a lesson on possession. I think he was teaching him a lesson on priority.
Yes, that's what it was. It's not about the money. Yeah.
And because he had the wrong priority, his possessions are the same thing as the fisherman's nets that he said,
"Yes, sir.
Throw away your nets, come follow me."
Yep.
Because the nets represented the way they provided for themselves.
Yeah.
So he's saying, "I need you to let go of that and follow me." I think he was saying the same thing to the young man. Let go of that and follow me, because your treasure is going to be where your heart is.
Absolutely. And you're right, because Jesus tells the disciples at the end, and they're like, well, dag, we left everything to follow you. And Jesus says, in this time and in the kingdom of come, if you gave up houses, you'll get houses. Relationships, you'll get. It's not wrong with the money. God just has a process of prioritizing things. And what you give up, he will bring back around again to you if you would just choose to follow him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to follow up? Told you we have the heavy hitters in here today. I'm sorry. Sister Jazz, Pastor P.
Nope, I'm good.
Good. Okay.
Bishop, can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
So God puts Adam and Eve in the garden. Everybody's and they're supposed to be God focused. To me, the fall, Satan was tempting them to be self-focused. Can you say it like that? Because she was all about, I saw it could help me. It could help me. It could help me. So do you think the root of sin is selfishness in its nature, or
I could say agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
I think that Satan asked you to give up God, to follow him. And Adam and Eve gave up their relationship with God, follow the voice of the enemy.
Wow.
Not until they lost his presence did they value it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of Christians only come back to church in a crisis.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, while they're in it, they don't value it as highly as they should to protect. It's just provision. I'm entitled to this because I love God or God loves me.
Yeah.
But then they leave and hit a wilderness, hit a famine, hit a foreign place where nobody knows and cares. All of a sudden, like the prodigal son, they think, if I was back where I was supposed to be,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going through all this. Yet he connected the dots between the separation from his father and the situation that he was in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is called an alley hoop.
Yeah, it was good.
My notes and everything. Something that we also learned yesterday was about our faith identity, right? Bishop, identity must be secure in this season. You cannot allow the persuasiveness of your circumstances to cause you not to identify yourself or whose you are, right? Especially in this kingdom. So, why do you believe that Christians like to be secret agents when it comes to their identity in the kingdom? You know, sometimes you have some people like they're at work and they're afraid to say their grace over their food at lunch or stuff like that. Why do you feel they have that? They like to be secret agents. Bishop, did you want to start off?
Fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's crazy about that is, I don't know too many people that don't want to be unique. And being in the Lord gives you a great opportunity to be unique in humanity.
Yeah.
But they don't want that uniqueness. They want a uniqueness in a world that doesn't include God.
Yeah.
You know, it actually is an act of disloyalty.
Wow.
The only time you know me is when we're around people that have my last name.
Yeah.
We fear rejection.
But when we're in a company of strangers, you act like you don't know me.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's got to be rejection on our part, and he has to see it as a type of Judas betrayal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, because how many times have we denied him circumstantially?
Do you think it's fear?
Not said our grace when we're at a restaurant.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You know, get a beverage that looks like we're drinking when we're really not. You know, all of that. You know.
Wow.
What do you say, Sister White?
I was going to ask you. I was thinking professionally. You think it's fear of loss
Absolutely.
of
Absolutely.
position and status and job and
friends, and
that those things are so important to what we think is our survival that we're not willing to take a chance and trust God.
Yeah.
So
I believe you're right.
It's like
I believe you're right. I believe that the majority tends to dilute our identity. You know, and I know in my own life, after I got saved, I never allowed myself to blend in. But I made sure I did my work. But I didn't blend in. I didn't go to the parties. Everybody told me I was not going to get promoted that way, and virtually everyone that told me that, I became superior to them.
Wow.
On the job. So I think when you stand by your identity, watch Moses. When you stand by your identity, God wanted to promote you.
Yeah.
He promoted him in Egypt. That means in your secular life, God will promote you.
Right.
If you stick with him, no matter where you are circumstantially.
Wow.
So I looked at it as God, you know, I didn't know anything that much about banking. I was learning every day. But he rapidly, you know, translated my career from one degree to the next. But I was constantly behaving as though I was not a part of the crowd. I didn't go out drinking with the group. I didn't go to the parties. I did, you know, I maintained my identity. And after a while, you know, God blessed that. But it took some warfare now.
Mm-hmm.
Because people know Christians. They expect us to give up who we are.
Yep.
Because we don't expect them to give up who they are.
Yep. Whew. True.
That's true.
I'll say that it's really interesting because people, like you said, people know Christians, so they'll see your identity sometimes
Mhm.
before you'll see it. Like I know, like I'll wear my sin on my sleeve sometimes. So if I mess up, if I start like if I slip up and start cussing, people look at me like, oh, wait a second. You know what I mean? So it's like people will check you when you have to come and loop back around too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that it's so important to know who you are and have your identity and hold true to that and not be like you said, a secret agent. You know, like people are gonna see it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Bible say something about if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father in heaven?
Mm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Is that what it says, Pastor?
Yes, sir. It does say that. Yep.
Okay.
It says that. Yep.
Does anybody else
Yeah.
want?
I think we want the promise, we want the promotion, we want all of that, but we want our circles to stay the same,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
and it doesn't happen that way. You know, we
It can't. It can't.
no.
It can't.
So faith will cause you to make some choices, right? Faith.
Mhm.
Bishop talked about that faith integrity. So you have to avoid the season of sin when it approaches, and embrace the season of God. So this is just my opinion. I feel like the last few months with quarantine and everything have been a season of sin because it's given us the excuse of not tuning into church, not sowing into our church, not taking the time to read our Bibles or anything, because I feel like a lot of people have been lazy. So what do you guys feel like these last couple months in quarantine and everything? Do you feel like this has been a season of sin or a season of distraction for some Christians and everything, especially since we are not? I feel like some Christians, we always say, you know, the church building is just a building. The church is inside of us. But now that we are actually being tested, people are like going crazy, like as if they don't know the church is within them, right? So how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like these last few months have been a season of sin or a season of distraction for the saints?
Go ahead, Bishop.
I think it's been an audit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the GRS, the God Revenue Service, has been auditing the faith of Christians. That's what I think. I just I think God has taken the time. He didn't send the plague, but He certainly is using it,
Mm-hmm.
and He's waiting for us to get back to Him. I think this was all whether He's asking every Christian a question: who are you going to choose?
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing to me how power of God, how the central theme seemed to be following the will of God.
Mm-hmm.
Speaker after speaker, conversation after conversation, seeing the will of God done in your life seemed to be the repetitive theme all week. And that means I just believe the message was sounding that we need to get back to following the Lord and have Him as being our first priority again.
Yes, sir.
Yes, most definitely.
I was in where was I? I was in a company of some preachers. I was on the phone with a preacher, and Saturday night while I was getting ready for Sunday, and I kind of had to tell him that, your brand has been diluted.
Mm.
We're so busy blending in, God can't tell the difference all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's pretty evident when you look at Egypt as reason, Israel and Egypt, and God had to mark their houses so He would know who not to kill. That's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm. Ouch.
All y'all looking the same to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to put a mark on your house so I don't kill you.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Well, what I do want to say is that from Power God to Father's Day to this Sunday encounter service has been an incredible experience. Again, shout out to the social media team, the media team. Shout out to Pastor P and her team that she picked to make sure Power God was good. Now that we got the real,
the one that survived the massacre.
But I do want to encourage you guys to remember, this was just a treat. It's streamed on Bishop's page as well as Bethany's page, but we need you to join the Bethany Connections group.
Yes.
Another way to stay connected with us during this time, especially during quarantine and everything. You get the exclusive content. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to write us in that group chat. Someone will get back to you. Also, I want to remind you that we are back on schedule. So our Word Impact on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. All right. So make sure you're tuning in. Bishop and Pastor Nick, they always got a treat for us. So make sure you tune into that. Also, Pastor Nick is doing a live on Thursday at 10 a.m. with another executive pastor on just, talking about being an executive pastor. Pastor Nick, do you want to talk about it real quick or?
Sure. One of my colleagues, David Fletcher, he runs the ex-pastor seminar. We want to talk about what an ex-pastor is. It's still kind of a foreign concept, especially in more minority churches. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about the history of the seminar. He teaches, I think he used to teach it down at Dallas Theological Seminary, where ex-pastors can go there and get a doctorate in it. So we're going to have a good conversation. We've had a good relationship for the past 15 years, I think.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about all that good stuff. So that's this Thursday.
Yes.
Next Thursday at 10 o'clock, we're going to talk to a magazine editor. He's the editor of some major Christian magazines. He's going to talk to those who want to write, get into magazines, editing, all that good stuff. Another gentleman that I know over the past few years. He's the editor of Christianity Today and a few other the big magazines. He's going to be on to have a discussion that Thursday. And then we're working out something now where one of our own, Derek Hodge, we're going to interview him. He has a new album out, and Derek's known all over the world.
Yes, he is.
I think we're going to call this thing called exposure or something like that.
Okay.
Expose people to different types of individuals. We're actually working with Bishop now to
get him. You're in my head, man.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in my head.
Okay. Good. There's you got
amazing how God does this.
I know. I'm like, we got to do this because we have a whole audience that has no idea about some people and roles and arenas. Like I want the Bishop can interview Zena for our lobbyist thing, Greg Montanaro, a few other people. We can kind of expose people to different groups. So we're working on that list now. So I was going to talk to Bishop about grabbing some people that he knows.
Yeah. I've been thinking about the same thing. Music people that we are very friendly with, Anthony Brown, all those singers, William Murphy.
Kevin.
Well, you guys,
I'm saved, y'all.
as
you know the Lord.
You guys can see, whether in person or virtually, it's still the church that never sleeps. So please stay tuned for all the content that's coming out this week. And don't forget, Saturday, weather permitted, we will have our drive-in service depending on the weather. So make sure you stay tuned to social media to see if it's going to be canceled or not. Hopefully there's no rain and we can come back, because I'm telling you, I'm loving Saturday services. It's something different. That honking for Jesus, we it's good. It's real good.
I'm about to get a bullhorn.
Right. I do want to say, before we sign off, I want to say thank you, Sister June, for joining us, Pastor P for joining us, Pastor Nick for joining us, and our fearless leader, Bishop David G. Evans, for joining us for the recap for Father's Day, Power God, and Sunday Encounter services. Anybody want to say anything before we sign off?
Nope. Good.
Bethany family, we love you. Stay connected. If you see us around the parking lot on Saturday, go ahead.
It's Men's Day Sunday.
Men's Day! Shout out!
Wow.
Men are $100 assessment.
Iron sharpen iron.
When we got their 75, we got to bring $100.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
we're real Christians.
Right.
There we go.
Good, but we got to show them, as the Bishop always tells us in service. But, we're going to see this Sunday. But again, Bethany family, if you see us around the parking lot, if you just say hi. We miss you guys. Stay tuned and look forward to all the content this week. All right. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. Have a good night.